Hello everyone, Rob from Expedition Team Overland here with another Midland Instructional video. So I'm in my Jeep. I got a 2018 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited, the JK style. And in a previous video you see where I had my installation of the radio in the Jeep. So I've installed it on the passenger side center console, obviously facing the driver. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be going through the instruction manual and how to use and program the MXT-400. The MXT-400 is Midland's most powerful and more complicated, and I use that term very loosely, radio that they have. It's got 40 watts GMRS, so GMRS max wattage is 50 watts. To me, the only thing that this thing is missing is the NOAA weather stations. That's my only complaint with this radio. Its size is big, but it's got 40 watts and it has a lot of power. It needs to dissipate the heat that creates. But it's a very easy radio to work. The handheld, the hand mic has your push-to-talk, and you can change channels up and down. And on one side you can lock the channels up and down so you don't accidentally change channels. So that's pretty basic, and I have it set up with a 3D printed mic holder on the grab handle on the center on the dashboard. So what I've done is I have printed out the instructions from Midland. Now when you get your radio from Midland, it does come with a little wallet size instruction manuals. A little hard to read, but works great because it fits in your glove box and has everything in there. But and I'll put a link in the description, when you go to their website and you go to the MXT-400, halfway down the page, you can download the spec sheet and then the owner's manual. So this is a GMRS radio, so you will need the license from the FCC. Getting the license, it's a $70 fee for 10 years, and it covers everyone in your radio, in your family. You can use it on this radio. You can use it on your handheld radios. If you have another vehicle with a radio in it, so it's not for the radios, for you. So I'm just going to go through the instruction manual, very basically page by page. So start on page 10 and 11, and I'll have. I'm not really going to spend a lot of time going through it. They have a really great description on what all the symbols mean and what everything does on the radio. So now I'm going to just talk about range real quickly. This radio has high, mid, and low power. It's really great that you have high power at 40 watts. Now you have low power on channels 1 through 7, I believe, are only low power because those are FRS channels. It's a GMRS radio, but it's limited on those. On all the other channels, you can differentiate high, mid, or low power. The way I run it is I'm always in high power. Reason is, in case we get split up, we're in a convoy, someone gets tagged behind, we get spread out a bunch, I don't have to worry about it. This does have about 40 miles of range, and it depends on where your antenna is mounted, and there's a lot of other factors too, but that's what they advertise. Are you going to get 40 miles range? Probably not. You're going to get 40 miles range if you're on top of two mountains that beam each other. You're on the interstate in Kansas where it's flatter than a pancake, and you watch your dog run away for a week. That's where you might get 40 miles range, and when atmospheric conditions permit. So realistically, you could probably get about 15 miles range. Going through the forest and stuff like that. My buddy, he has an MXT-400 in his Jeep. I just pulled my Jeep on the front of my driveway. We're here in Northeast Ohio, and we got about 6 miles as the crow flies, and we were going through foliage, a little bit of like a shopping district area and whatnot. So it worked pretty well, and at 6 miles we were able to hear each other fairly clearly. So when would you change your power output? So say you're in a convoy, you're all tight on the interstate, and you're inside this we'll just say 36-mile bubble that's rotating around you. Someone else is a farmer or whatnot, you're interfering with them. Instead of changing channels, you can just go to low power, and they might not hear you, might not hear them. So that's the only reason why I would change the power settings. If not, you just go to a different frequency. So okay, so now we're gonna just dig right on in. Like I said, I'm gonna go page by page through the manual, so it makes it easier for you following along at home. So powering on, powering off the radio, very simple. On the top, there's a power button, it says PWR. You push that button, and you got power. And then selecting a channel, on the left, there's a large rotating knob. You're just going to rotate that knob how you want. So now you're going to see channels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 through 7 are low power. And then it jumps to 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So those are all the channels that you have the power to. So now to transmit, you're going to take your handheld. And I'm on channel 22. Hello, hello. And when you transmit, you see you have bars on the side that come up. And I'm trying to see, yeah, you see bars that come up on the side, and you have the TX light here on the top transmits. So that's how you transmit. And then to receive, someone's going to talk, and you just do the exact same thing. So locking the keypad, this is a good feature for, especially if, like where I have it set up, someone might inadvertently hit it. You're on a channel, you have no intention of changing it. Let's just lock the keypad up so you can't mess anything up. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold the call button down, and you're going to see a little key on the radio, and that key just says that it's locked. And to unlock it, you just push it again. Okay, so now monitor mode. This is where you can, if you want to set your volume or see if there's anyone on the frequency. So what we're going to do is we're on an active channel, and you're going to hit the scan mon button, which is down here on the bottom. And that just breaks the squelch. So you can set your volume before you have some up, and then to get out of it, you just hold the scan mon button down again. Now scan feature, this is really nice. So if you're in a metropolitan area, or you're on you're at Easter Jeep Safari, or somewhere where there is a lot of people talking on the radio who are using these radios, instead of just picking a channel and then seeing if someone's on it or whatnot, you can just do the scan. So all that's going to do is it's when someone's talking. So if another group is on the same channel but they're not talking, you're not going to know that. So all it's going to do is when someone talks, they're going to do that. So what you're going to do is you're just going to hold the scan button down for a quick second, and you'll see that the channels are just going to be rotating through. I'm in an area where there's not a lot of GMRS, so we're not going to hear someone talk. If we were to hear someone talk, you would hear them pick up. Alright, so now call alert. This is something that came over from the ham amateur radio, and they brought it over into this radio, which I think it has good usage for what I would use it for in an overlanding off-roading situation. What it does is it just sends out a tone to everybody that's on your channel. Might not be in your group, but everyone who's on your channel will get this alert. Where I see using it is an emergency situation where you're just going through every channel, and you hit this, and hopefully it'll trigger someone and you can talk to. Or say you have a spotter in front and they have a handheld radios in their pocket, and they forgot it's there, or they don't hear you talking. You do this tone, it just sends out a different tone. So what you do is you're just going to have to just hold down the call button for a second. And that's it. So it just sends out that tone. I think it has its good places here. I don't think it's something I'm going to have used all the time, but it's a good thing to know on how to use it. Okay, so now we're going to get into the privacy codes. Privacy codes, I think, are have their definitely usages. Do I see it being used a lot in this MXT-400 and when you're hardwiring a Jeep? Not really, because if I what it's doing is it opens up a lot more channels. They're like sub-channels in a channel. It opens up a lot more uses when people could be on the same channel and you don't hear each other. But in all reality, I think if I was in Moab and everyone was on channel 22, I would just tell my party, hey, let's go to channel 21. And then we all go to channel 21. Because programming this is something that, especially if you're driving, you'd have to have your passenger do it. You can't really fumble with this, especially the way I have it set up. And it is a little bit, because everyone has to be exact. So if you're on the wrong sub-channel, you're not going to hear everyone in your party. So like I said, it's a really nice feature. I just don't see it being used. If you guys do use this in your Jeeps, please leave comments below. I would love to learn if there's more practical uses for this. It's a powerful thing. This radio has a lot of possibilities. But like I said, right out of the box, this radio works great. Plug it in, go to channel 22 or 14 or whatever you want to do, and it works great. So what you're going to do is you're just going to hit the TS DCS button, and then you use the channel knob to go whatever one you want to be in. So here's DCS 104, and you have all these. So you have 104 possibilities on each channel, but everybody in your group has to be on the same one. So that's it's a good thing, but it's a little complicated. And then it says DCS, so you know it. And then so we're gonna go there, and then here's the CTCS channels. So I think it definitely has its usage. I don't, when we're out on Jeep trips, I don't use it, but it definitely has its usages. You just have to make sure that everybody is on the same channel. Okay, so here we are. Now we're at the power setting. You have high, mid, and low power. Low power is only on channels 1 through 7 because those are FRS. Even though it's a GMRS radio, they only go out on low power. So we're going to go to the higher power settings, and you hit the PVL button, which is up on top. And you can see it says MI, that's mid, low, and when there's nothing on there, it's high. So mid, low, and high. So it's nice, easy. It's easy to grab. It's once if you're driving, you could if you know what button it is, you can feel it's the second button in from the right. Okay, so now we're getting into more of the more complicated sections of this. This radio does have the capability of working off of a repeater. There's not a huge GMRS repeater network in the country right now. I think Midland and supposedly the FCC are working on establishing a network for this. I did reach out to some people in areas where I think it would be popular, like Moab or Ouray in the Ouray-Silverton Telluride area of the Alpine Loop there in southwestern Colorado. There is already a very large network for ham and amateur radios, but to be able to piggyback off of that, it's a whole different infrastructure. So it does take a lot of money and permits and stuff like that. But if the FCC and Midland using their powers are able to get this working, I think it's going to help out a lot. Midland is talking about possibly setting like a repeater network with Jeep Jamboree, that they're working together to be able to expand their communications networks at Jeep Jamborees, which I think is pretty cool. So, and all a repeater does is you would talk to the repeater, and that repeater will send it either through the internet or repeat it further. So it's kind of like a signal boost. So what would be great is if you had it on one, like I'll just use Moab for an example. If you put it on the top of, because Moab's like in a valley, you put a couple repeaters up on the top of the valley, you'd be able to reach from the end of fins and things or up by top of the world, would then be able to repeat to something that's closer to town, and then from town it could go into they could have the antenna face into the valley. Then you can reach into town. So then, for an emergency, you could have the local Jeep shops monitoring a specific frequency for emergencies like police and search and rescue. So because there's no repeater set up here, I'm really not going to go through those features because I can't test it out with you guys. So if you guys work with these repeaters and you want to reach out to me, I'll be more than happy to work on this a little bit better. Okay, so now we're getting into voice command compounder and comp function. What this is a noise. It's almost like a noise canceling that's built into the radio. It's always on, so the only way you could do it is this is turning off that feature. Not really sure why you'd want to turn it off, but it's great that Midland gives you these opportunities to turn it off. If you have a reason for turning this off, or you've used it, had it off in the past, please leave a description below in the comments, and I'd love to learn more about it. So what you do is you're going to hold the menu down for 3 seconds, and it says talk off. You use the call button to go through, and it's going to say let's restore, repeater off, that's a squelch, we're looking for comp. So there's comp off or comp on. You just use the you're just going to use the big channel button on the left, and so it's turned on. Alright guys, so now we're getting into the silent operation of this. It works out really well, so if you're filming in the Jeep and you're fumbling with the radio, it won't make any sounds. You still get the radio still work for transmitting and receiving, so you'll still hear people talking to you. It's just all the buttons and whatnot will not be functioning. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold down the menu button for 3 seconds, and then you use the call buttons to get to where you want, and mute on, and then use the volume, the channel selection, the big knob, to change it. And unfortunately it goes pretty quickly, so mute off, we're going to put mute on, and then you hit the select button, and that's what, when you have to hit select, because select is what does everything. And now here you can see nothing's doing, there's not any sound coming out. So I'm going to go back and turn that off, because I like to have it. There you go. So that's how. So you have to, whenever you do something with the menu, you have to hit select. So then you have call alert function. So now this is where, like I said earlier, you have the call alert. There's 5 tones that you can select to that sound. If you wanted to change it up for some reason. So we're going to go into the menu button. You hold the menu down. And we're going to use this, and it's going to go to call. And use the you can go 1 through 5. So then when you hit 2, and I'm going to hit select. That hits that selects that mode, and that's how you do that. So now the timeout function. This is, I guess this would be good if you accidentally are sitting on your radio, your handheld, and you just, or you have your microphone in your cup holder, and it gets up against the side, and you're just going to be constantly transmitting. This would automatic after a set period of time. This is when it would automatically stop calling out or transmitting a call or a radio transmission. Kind of good, I guess, if depending on where you have it, so you're not eating up the whole channel for everybody in your group. So we're going to hit the menu till we see TOT. TOT. So it's at right now it's at 180 minutes, 120, it's either off 180 seconds, 120 seconds, or off. So I'm going to select off, just because that's something I don't foresee a problem. I should leave it at 180, but we'll see if I have a problem with it in the future. Auto power off function. I think this is really big, because this MXT-400 has to be hardwired to Alright guys, so now we're getting into the auto power off function. The MXT-400 of all the micro mobile radios has to be hardwired to the battery. The other radios all have the feature of, they have a cigarette lighter that you can plug it into, or you could hardwire it to the battery as well. But because this is hardwired to the battery, it has an auto off function. So if you were to turn your Jeep off and you leave the radio on, it's not going to drain your entire battery. Taking 40 watts, it's not because it's not transmitting, but it's still a pretty powerful radio. It is going to drain your battery, not as long as it would take if you had your cell phone plugged in or something like that. But this has the potential to drain your battery, and if you were to park it overnight, you have probably a low battery, especially if you had a compromised battery to start out with. So I feel this is a really good feature. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the menu button for 3 seconds, and we're going to wait till we see APO. APO is off. So here it is 120, 60, 30 off. I believe that's got to be minutes. So 30, 60, or 120 minutes. I'm gonna set mine to 120 minutes, I think. So I hit select, and then I have selected. After 120 minutes, the radio will automatically turn off from its last function. So, like I said, I think that's pretty good. Squelch sensitivity. This is one of their only radios that has this feature, which I think is really big because squelch is how far you're going to reach. So if let's just say you're trying to reach someone that's really far, and let's say they have another MXT-400, you're at 30 miles, and you want to talk to each other, but you can't. You can barely hear them. So what you could do is you can break the squelch, and you're just going to hear the radio static, but you'll be able to hear the transmission through it very, very slightly. It's not going to be a very clear and crisp, but if that's your only form of communications, you're out of cell phone coverage, it's the only way you can talk to somebody, it could be the difference between getting the radio call through. So once again, we're going to hold the power button down, the menu button, and we're going to go till we see SQL. And then they have up through 4. 9 through 4. It was automatically set to 4, so we could, so we'll just set it, maybe we could set it a little bit lower, and then we could hear everybody. We'll hit the select button. I think 4 is, the low side is the lower the squelch, and the higher is the higher squelch. So let's say you're all in a convoy and you don't want to hear someone, there's a bunch of farmers or something like that, that you're able to pick up. You can turn the squelch up and you won't hear them as much. Display brightness. This is I think it's pretty good, especially if you're working at night. You won't, it's right now it's an orange screen, so it's a calming. It's not going to be attention or distracting you. My buddy has his mounted up on up behind the windshield. Maybe you want to have a little bit dimmer at night. So we're going to hit the hold button for 3 seconds again. And we're going to so we see lamp. And then, or you want it brighter. So we'll just leave it I'll put it at 5. So overall, this is a really a super powerful radio. Has a lot of super features to it. And I think it's being the most powerful, it's really great. But like I said, the only thing it's missing is the NOAA weather radios. I really wish that they would have put that in these. So, but overall, it's a fantastic radio. I'm super happy with it. It has a lot of potential. You have but you don't have to do a lot of the setting stuff. Take it out of the box, plug it in, and it's gonna work fantastic. Go to whatever channel you want, and you guys can talk for all your comms. It's gonna work really well. If you want to be nerdy in that, the manual has some really great additions in here. You have all the privacy codes. It has the frequencies. It's just they have a lot of stuff in the manual. So Overall, I'm super happy with this radio. I'm going to be using it a lot in my upcoming trip through Colorado and New Mexico. And like I said, GMRS is turning into the new norm now with Jeep Jamboree using GMRS radios instead of moving away from CB. We're going to see these growing in the Jeeping Overland community. So hope you guys are doing well and everything through the world crisis that we're going through right now. But let's get more of these out there so we can all go enjoy the trails. So you guys have a great day. Catch you later.